Hi guys, this is Bhavna and you're watching India Today. I have the beautiful Rashmika Mandanna and the director Vikas Bahl right here with me for their movie Goodbye.
Hi.
Welcome. Tell me something now. Goodbye, the trailer. Obviously, we have all watched it and loved it. It gives, I mean, I know that I will be very much invested in that story just looking at the trailer. I can only imagine how invested you were while shooting because this is a very emotional tale as well. So I'll first begin with you because you are the writer and the director for this story. But tell me something. When you were writing the story, was Rashmika the first name that you had in mind to play the character that she is, and Amitabh Bachchan? So, like, did you have specific actors in mind while you were writing the story for Goodbye?
So to be honest, when I started writing it, I did not know that Rashmika existed. But yes, I definitely had Mr. Bachchan in mind because I think what we're trying to say, it needs the authority, it needs the love, it needs all of what Mr. Bachchan is to be able to say it, to reach out to the world and maybe make that slight point or dent that it's trying to do. Rashmika, I saw while I was writing, I saw a film called Geeta Govindam, and I was like, these two people, both of them, Vijay and her, I was in love with them.
Right.
And I was like, how do I even get in touch with her? What do I do? And then when I had finished writing it, there was a friend of mine called Chotu in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Chotu 6'9".
Yeah, he's 6'9".
We're not taking it literally.
And he got in touch with somebody and he said, yes, I know. And we all hang out together and a bunch of friends. And then through him, I reached out to her. And then I went to Hyderabad to meet her. And she came and sat there and she had 3 desserts.
Post workout.
And packed up 2. And I was like, I'm very sure this is the person, but I hope after all this, by the time we start shooting,
He's a different person.
Thank you, Chotu, basically for this collaboration to happen. But Rashmika, for you to consider this script, because technically it's your Hindi film debut as well. What was about the script that struck a chord with you that you were like, okay, maybe I should be a part of this?
I think for me, the second I read the script, like I keep saying, for the first time I read the script in like one go, which just took me an hour. Generally, a script reading takes me like days because I'm sitting and, playing these scenes out in my mind.
Right.
But when I read this story, it was just so easily flowing that it took me literally an hour and I immediately made a call that I had to be a part of this film. Because I just felt that, you get that feeling that, okay, you want to do this film, you don't want to let this go, you just want to be a part of this script, and that was it for me, like the second I read it. And of course, when I got to know through, all my friends that it was because I've seen his film, so I was like, oh wow, this film directed by him is like a icing, and cherry on the top would be Bachchan sir.
Wow, that's so true. But I also want to understand because, I feel for any young actor to work with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is like a dream come true or an experience in itself. What was it that you took away when you worked with him on this film?
I think for me, through the shooting process, constantly there were so many rehearsals and constantly we had so many of course, the scenes are, like all of us are speaking, and it's not like, okay, your dialogue is done, my dialogue is done.
Correct, yeah.
It's just like a family conversation, right? So it was like just having him as an actor, but also having him as this mentor on set was something which I was looking forward for. Because, of course, like I again keep saying that, I think me as an actor before Goodbye and after Goodbye is very different.
Wow.
Like I've seen my myself evolve through this film, and of course, like just the ease it carried, and him as this persona, he's a legend. And having to work with him so early in my career, I think, thank you.
And the best thing about it is that, so it's a film which has many actors there. And then you see one actor who's rehearsing and being sure that he's in a character is Mr. Bachchan.
Yeah.
And then all the other 6 people are thinking that we had come here fully prepared and we're cool, we'll walk into a scene, and then you're seeing that one person who's rehearsing as if he's come for his first shot ever.
But I've heard so much about Big B being that person who's always like rehearsing and always like working on himself. But now that the film is finally releasing, I want to know, is there a sort of pressure that you're feeling? Also, the reason why I ask is because there's just so much chatter going on about how the film industry or theaters in general are not working, that films are not working well in theaters. Of course, we have had Brahmastra now, and we are having other movies that are releasing which hopefully will do much better. But is there an added pressure for the film to perform and for you as actors to deliver?
I think we're just happy we made
Yeah.
it. We're just so happy we
wanted
made
to
it.
say
We
the
had
same
such a
thing.
great time making it. I remember when we were all in Rishikesh, we were there for a good 10, 15 days. We didn't feel like leaving. We used to go by boat every day to the other side. We'd be in the ghat, we'd be shooting, and we were sitting and eating lunches for 2, 3 hours. And so we put in like so much love and heart in it that we're just excited now to put it out. And I think no other thought is even coming into our heads.
Yeah. I just feel like we've done this film and we had a blast while shooting this film. And of course, the scenario right now, like, I'm nobody to say, but it's just happening. And like, Goodbye is a film where it's just soft and we are very excited to show it to the world. And of course, like, after a trailer, I think we've gotten a lot of messages saying, you know, we're excited for the film and it looks like a very, you know, a heartwarming film and everything. And that's what we want people to think about the film as. So, yeah, I'm so excited.
And I'm sure everyone else is also, because you know there are so many things that you identify with through the trailer as well. There's a contemporary twist to it, wherein as someone who's lived in this generation, you want to believe in something yet you don't completely believe in it. Like your character, for example, you find certain things illogical, whereas you know the other generation might find it logical. How much did you recognize with that tempo as Rashmika? Not just related to that, but in life also, we constantly have that conflict, right? How do you deal with it in personal life?
I think I'm quite opposite to Tara, I must say. Because I will do all these pair chunna or just, you know, like while going, crossing the temple, not even walking into the temple, I will like, God, thank you for this, thank you for this life. So I'm very that person. But yeah, like he's given me Tara and I used to always ask Sir ki, like how did you even think of me as Tara? Because Tara is always like, इसमें logic क्या है? What like there's no like, what is the? She's more practical. Yeah, she's more practical, right? So I was like, okay, as in this is all the mind thought again. The next what comes is the performance. So I was like, okay, I can, but you're making me a very mean person, I must say. And I'm not this mean, I must say.
But that is where your acting chops come in play, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
so I hope I
All
did
the time, Sadhu on the set. I don't agree with this, I don't agree with this.
but I think she was trying to get into the character. She's like, let me just imbibe that.
Constantly asking, I'm like, how? Like, what makes you think I'm so mean? I'm constantly, you know, back
I was
answering
like,
my
don't
dad.
worry, there's a
and all.
little bit of you in all of us, you know.
But I also want to understand, because you know while you're writing a script like this, which if not done correctly, it might come across as a very sad story as well, which it is not. Of course, it has a very humorous tone to it while you are dealing with grief in a certain way, right? I want to understand, what are the aspects that you keep in mind, because when you're working on a script like this, because it can be very challenging on a script level itself.
Yeah, so I think humor comes very naturally to me. In the strangest of places, I can find humor, and I think it exists. You know, it's just your state of mind at that point in time. So I remember so many things of my growing up days where I would see the strangest things in front of me, and I'd be like, "What?" So I remember when my grandfather passed away, and I used to live in the same room as him for years. You know, we were just in a 2-room place. I used to live with my grandfather. So he was outside. It was a Sunday. Now the cremation had to happen at 4 o'clock in the evening. Now everybody's sitting there and everybody's crying. And Punjabis really cry. And we cry out to show how affected are we, you know. So everyone's crying, but it was 10 o'clock. And Ramayana was going to start. And everybody wanted to go watch Ramayana. Okay. And one of the aunts is saying, you know, if Bauji was there, he would never miss one episode of Ramayana. Next, Bauji is there outside. Everybody sitting inside and watching Ramayana. And it's a part of the whole thing, right? Now you can see it as humor, you can see it as anything, but it is so beautiful that that's what happened. But it stayed in my head, you know. So even when things happen in our life, you just have to see
A
the
different
other side, you know. Like I remember when I was shooting in Queen and the purse is being stolen. You can see it in so many perspectives. But the desire to hold on to that, you know, is desire, is humor, is everything that comes together. So I think that's how life is, you know. And I think this is just seeing how life is beautiful in all aspects. And we will find little humor, little sadness, little crying, all of that. And everything.
I think it's all about the perspective, like you said eventually. Rashmika, I feel that it is the best time for actors right now because audiences are so receptive to different kind of scripts, different kind of, I mean, the language which perhaps was considered a barrier at one point is no longer a barrier for sure. How do you see it as an artist? Because of course there's always this थोड़ा north and south तो वो हमेशा ही रहेगा because we live in a very diverse country. But how do you view it as an artist, as an opportunity to perhaps reach out to a larger audience?
For me as an actor, language or industries was never a barrier. Since the beginning of my career, say 5 years ago, I've always done films in different languages, different industries and everything, and I'm very comfortable doing so. And I think as an actor, that's how I keep it all more exciting, you know. And for me, and this north and south also, that's also coming low now because now they're calling it a pan-Indian film, of course, which audiences everywhere are watching and people are loving it. I think that's how I take it as an actor, yeah. Like for me, in the end of the day, it's the script, it's the team I'm working with, and what purpose do I have in that? And am I going to have fun while shooting it? And yeah, in the end, our audience going to love it. You know, I think that's my process of shooting and working, and I'm very happy. And of course, people love the concepts which is coming now.
That is true, yeah. But do you ever felt like the conversation in general was getting redundant? Because although we have seen, I mean, and this is not the first time, this has existed before where films, pan-Indian films have worked really well. But recently there was a lot of debate around it. Did it at any point as an artist bother you?
No, love. See, the situation now after COVID is so different that we are uncertain about our own health. Like, you don't know what all of us are going to be doing, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, something like that doesn't just affect the aspect of just your health, but it also affects the aspect of everything that you do, right? So you can't talk about just the film industry or films not working or if it's working. It's not that. It's the mindset people are in. It's now people are coming to the theaters and watching it. It's not like, okay, pandemic is, you know, just like last year it was still there. So it's not like it's disappeared. So people are now open to it, and I think if you just give them a good film to come and watch in the theaters, then they will do that. So, yeah, it's just the experience that people want to have.
I agree because as a filmmaker, how do you view this? Because I feel that now the opportunity to just reach out to a larger audience is much more. Also because everything is being viewed as global. There's no, I don't feel there's any pan-India or anything also. I think it's just global nowadays.
I just think it's a great time because audiences are curious. And curiosity is the best thing we can have, right? Now it's for us to fulfill that curiosity or not. Now some stories might work because they're pan stories. Some stories might just work because they came from a really small village in Kerala and we had no clue about it. So pan is not always about a universal language. Pan is just about catering to the curiosity. And I think somewhere the curiosity sitting at home and seeing different kind of stuff has increased. So the benchmark has increased and we better up our game and live up to that curiosity.
Curiosity. I love that word. I'm going to use it.
Since we are talking about curiosity, one curiosity all of us as fans have is about Pushpa 2. So I want to know what is the update there, Rashmika? Because curiosity, like you said, is something that is grip.
I ask every day because I'm dying to watch it.
No, wait. No, Pushpa 2, we'll be starting after the release of Goodbye, after 7th, I think, towards the month end of October, we're going to be starting. And it's exciting, it's going to get bigger and better, and you're going to have a fun ride with that.
I'm sure, and we are all waiting for that. Lastly, now I want to know, because the film is titled Goodbye, if I may ask, 3 things in your life, in your career, be it personal or professional, you want to say goodbye to. This is to both of them.
3 things that in your life.
So the reason behind Goodbye is basically that you're going to meet again.
No, but we will take the literal term of goodbye. We don't want to get philosophical about goodbye. That we will watch in the movie. Here you have to literally say goodbye to 3 things. चलो 3 अगर आप नहीं सोच सकते तो 2 कर लेते हैं.
No, so goodbye to, I think, what we've been through for the last 2 years, the whole world. So a really good goodbye
To that.
to that. I think goodbye, how much I felt when I finished studying and I was done with it. I was like, abbe nahi aur padhai ho sakta.
Very politically correct answer.
What am I supposed to give me one hint?
Trend, maybe a trend you want to say goodbye to.
I'm the last person who knows of any
Yeah,
trend.
you wouldn't know anything.
Trend. Okay, let us say then I'll come with the third one. Yeah.
We can stick to 2 also.
2. Okay, definitely goodbye to this corona thingy.
He said that.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but this is one universal mindset, I think, that everyone wants to just say goodbye to.
So we've said goodbye. Goodbye
To corona, and goodbye to, I don't like saying goodbyes. Like example, like when you're done with a film and you've worked so closely with everyone and you get so emotionally attached to everyone, and then you know that you're not going to be working with them for a long, as in of course you work with them once or whatever, whenever, but that one moment where you're like, I don't want to go type, that I want to say goodbye to.
So actually the reason we're unable to answer is because for us it is the other way around. So we've lived the goodbye of the happiness part versus saying goodbye to things that you dislike or you don't want to see again. But it's actually seeing it the other way around. For which you have to
You have flipped the perspective for all of us. But I'm very excited to watch the film in the theatres.
And the one thing I learned while shooting that first scene with her was, don't make her start crying. Call cut before she takes off, because it's a plane that's taken off. And now you have to keep waiting for it to land. Yeah. And next time I was like, cut.
Yeah, I
because
do
we have
know.
another scene to shoot where she doesn't have to cry.
So for me, if I start crying now, I can't stop crying. Okay, so he's figured it out after the first time. Because after the first cry, I was just crying and I'm like, I can't stop crying. What do I do? And he's like, stop. It's not done. It's over.
And then I'm holding her. She's sitting on the floor. I'm holding her, and I started crying. Now I didn't realize I started crying because I'm so invested in her crying. And then piche I can hear someone say, Vikas sir is also crying. Vikas sir is also crying. I'm like, I'm also crying.
But that is so organic. I mean, Rashmika, that's a gift to make someone else cry just by looking at.
Trust me, crying is no fun.
Clearly. But thank you so much, both of you. I hope that the film reaches to the larger audience and they also love it as much as you loved working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.